Google and the rest. These are icons. Now, what do we do? For those of you who are coming to the CSS and HTML class for the first time, we've done HTML for Bash 2, and we've done both HTML and CSS. We are still working on CSS for Batch 1. So I'm trying to mesh both Batch 1 and 2 together so that I won't be repeating lectures. Now, what do we do? I'm going to create a page and I'm going to call it index.html. Control S. So I'll call this index.html. This is because I want the page to be created as an HTML page. So I can just type HTML and HTML5 will pop out. When it pops out, I can just save it. So we now have our HTML skeleton. So I'm going to need another page. I will save it as style because I'm going to style this document, style.css. I'll save this as style.css. Then under my title, that is where I will link my CSS. I will just say link and you see CSS below it, style.css. I didn't mean I gave a different name to my CSS. It would have, I didn't mean I gave a different name to my CSS. I would have changed that name. I would have used that name instead. Now, when I hover on the style.css, you'll see something like follow link. If I click on the follow link, you'll see that it will take me to that page. That's because it is properly linked. Now, what do we do next? If we look at our web page, you'll see that we have two sections inside the web page. The first side is the header, then the second part is the first section. So that is what we are going to start working on. How do I do it? I'll just say header and it will bring out the header tag. Then the second part is the section. So it will bring out the section tag. So this is the beginning. So let me turn on my live server so that I will be able to visualize whatever thing that we are creating. So what do we do? Now, our web page, we have something in form of logo. We have something in form of logo, but this is not a logo. This is a text that has a global icon attached to it. So what do we do? I'm going to bring in this text. I'm going to bring in this text, and I think that text should be a H2 text. So let me say H2, enter, and I'll call it pro, what was that name? Pra rules. So I'll call it pra rules. So what do I do when I come to my CSS? Like I always I've always told you, you make margin to be 0 pixel. Then you make padding to be 0 pixel. Okay. Then now what do I want to do? I will say H2. Let H2 have a color called orange, orange red. So I'll give it a color called orange red. I think H2 is not big in. Okay, let me just use H2. Then what do we do? I need to bring in the global icon. So how do I go about it? I will say font awesome. So I'll search for font awesome and it will take me to fontawesome.com. So, okay, looks like the network is a bit slow for Apple. Okay, thank you. It will take me to fontawesome.com. So when it takes me to fontawesome.com, I can decide to search for whatsoever thing I want. I can say globe and hit enter to search. Is this the place for icon? Font awesome globe. Okay, it's not working. So let me search for favicon. Either of these should work. Okay. Looks like the font awesome didn't load properly, so it's here now. So let me search for globe. Start for free. Enter your email, blah blah blah, and the rest. That's not what I want. I just need an icon. Favicon. So the network is kind of slow today, but let me disconnect some devices.